Alright guys, this is Matt here on the Vinyl Head UK channel. And live music is back. I've just got back from my first gig post-pandemic. I know we're still in it. I know it's all still a bit weird. But live music is back. My ears are ringing. I'm covered in beer. I'm sweaty, and it's just the best feeling to know that I've been back to see a live show. So I have been over to the Leeds O2 Academy, where I have seen Blackstone Cherry, supported by the Kris Barras Band. And just let me tell you, it was so good. I've been wanting to do a nice little review series of some of the gigs that I go to. Obviously, that's not really been possible since this channel's been up and running. So this is the first one. I've got a few lined up in the back end of this year and the start of next year. So hopefully this is the start of a nice little series. But I just want to kind of talk about the gigs, let you know what it was like. If you're going to catch these bands on later tour dates, you know, you can suss out what it's going to be like. But yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling so good to have just know that I've been to a live show again. The last one was January 2020, just before the world turned crazy. And who knew, as I was walking away from that gig, that I'd have to wait, I think it was 19 months I worked it out as. 19 months. Man, I don't know how I've gone that long without live music, but we're up and running again. So as I say, I was over at the O2 Academy in Leeds for Blackstone Cherry with the Kris Barras Band supporting. Now, I believe that literally up until like the moment the Blackstone Cherry got to the airport over in the States, they didn't know still whether this tour was gonna go ahead. I was speaking to some friends of mine and saying that in reality, this must be one of the first American acts, bands, artists, whatever, to come back across and tour in the UK since COVID. We've had festivals happen in the UK, predominantly British lineups. You look at Reading, you look at the Download Pilot, Bloodstock, stuff like that. It's been very British heavy lineups. So I think Blackstone Cherry must be one of the first, if not the first, American band to come and actually tour through the UK again. As I say, it was a little bit touch and go, they were saying, up until the point that they got to the airport and, you know, hit Heathrow and knew that this thing was actually going to happen. So fair play to those guys. Fair play to them. So the experience, let me talk about that a little bit. This was I think it's like the 5th or 6th date on this tour so far. They kicked off in Bristol, Birmingham. I think they've been to Lincoln, Nottingham, maybe somewhere else. I can't remember. Before hitting Leeds. COVID checks. How is it going to be? We're so used to sort of just queuing up, presenting our ticket, in we go. Straight to the bar, get a beer, go and get a good spot, watch a band. How is COVID checks going to affect us? So, got down there, so the doors open at 7. I got down for about 6:45. There's already a pretty big queue. Kris Barras Band was due to come on at 7:45. So queued up. The queue wasn't really moving too quick. By the time I got in, it was 7:40. I had 5 minutes to go until Kris Barras was on. and still loads of people queuing to get in. Now, all we needed to do was present a negative lateral flow test result or a COVID passport. So they checked that, and that was it. It was pretty simple. The queues was mainly being held up by the checks on the body with the scanner thing that they put on you. But then I was in. So that was pretty easy, you know. I've heard of people from other gigs say it took quite a long time to get in. Some people have missed Kris Barras because of COVID checks and whatnot. But, you know, it wasn't too bad. I'm glad I got there when I did, because it would have been a little bit touch and go as to actually getting in for when Kris Barras started. This was my second trip to the Academy in Leeds. I would have liked to have gone more, but we haven't had live music for so long. The first time I was there was for Clutch, which was a great gig, and then back again for tonight. Let's start with Kris Barras Band. First time I've seen these guys. I don't know much about Kris Barras, if I'm honest. I haven't really listened to his music all that much. I've heard his name pop up a lot, like Planet Rock and some of the festivals like Steelhouse and stuff like that. You see him normally on those types of festivals. My dad owns an album of his, so he was telling me he's quite bluesy, which I like. You know, I've said before, I like my blues. Not so bluesy this set, I didn't think. There was a couple of bluesy moments, but it was quite heavy. I'm not familiar with his music, as I say, so it's kind of difficult to judge. But it wasn't a bad set. He had about 45 minutes. I think he did like 8 or 9 tracks. But it was kind of heavier than I was expecting, considering I was thinking it was going to be kind of a bluesy outfit. I mean, he's a big guy. He's a former MMA fighter, I believe, who kind of left the octagon behind and switched over to music. Decent rock tunes, you know. I would have taken anything tonight. That was the first live music in 19 months. I would have taken anything, you know. But it was good. It was just, I think the moment was better than anything, just to hear that noise, that volume of music coming at your face. It's a loud venue as well. It's not the biggest O2 Academy, but it is loud. Real loud in there. Louder than the other academies I've been to, definitely. And yeah, as I say, it was a decent set, 45 minutes. He did a really nice cover, It's Going Down. Whole blues track right there. Heavied up a little bit. Not real heavy, but definitely heavier than the original. And, you know, I've seen Joe Bonamassa cover that. It's very much bluesy kind of track and feel to it. Kris Barras and his guitarist trading off some nice leads, some nice licks. It was cool. It was definitely probably my favourite bit of the set. I've actually got some footage for you guys of the opening track, which is called Dead Horses. So here you are. Check that out right now. Alright, so that was pretty cool. That was the opening track, as I say. They've got a new album coming out, which he was saying was written at the start of this year. It's going to be out next year. So they played a few of that. I was looking around. There was some Kris Barras shirts in the audience. There were some people singing along. I think looking at the crowd, it's very much kind of that Planet Rock crowd. Some older folk. Couple younger guys, but mainly older. kind of demographic. The type, I guess, would listen to Planet Rock. So, you know, I guess Kris Barras has been played a lot on Planet Rock. So, yeah, got himself some fans. It was a good set. And then we went straight on to Blackstone Cherry. This was the 14th time I have seen Blackstone Cherry live. I started back in 2008. Fast forward to 2021. I've had some good times seeing that band. I've seen them all over the place. Festivals, stadiums, tiny little clubs, you name it. Followed them along on that journey. So it was about half hour changeover between Kris Barras and Blackstone Cherry. Typical PA rock tracks you got. And then they upped the volume a little bit. We got Tribute by Tenacious D. And I don't know if it's a set sort of playlist, but they upped the volume up. And everyone was singing along. It felt good. It was a good atmosphere. Everyone bouting out Tribute by Tenacious D. After that, we had Run to the Hills by Maiden, which everyone was bouting out. They even had the lights going for it. Those house lights shine on everyone. Everyone bouting out Run to the Hills. And then Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen started to play. Of course, everyone's singing along to that mellow part, and then it stopped and you saw the guys coming up onto stage, and they did not mess about. We were straight into Me and Mary Jane, one of my favorite tracks. I was pretty happy about that. And there we have it, like a band I love back on stage in front of me. I cannot describe the feeling that I had. I don't think you could wipe this smile off my face. Even now, I'm just excited talking about it. I'm so happy to have live music back. Going to see gigs, getting tours going again. So happy. I've got the set list next to me. I'm not going to write it down as I watch these because I'm very much about in the moment. But I have got a little bit of footage of the opening track. So check this out. This is Me and Mary Jane. All right, so that was Me and Mary Jane. From there, we went into Burning, which according to my faithful friend, the Setlist FM website, they haven't played that before. I don't know how true that is. It would surprise me if they haven't played that track before, but interesting. The set was quite heavy on folklore and superstition. We got about 5-6 tracks from that. We got some stuff from The Human Condition, the latest album from 2020. So a good mix across the board. One of the opening tracks was Yeah Man, which if you've got the extended edition of Folklore and Superstition, you will know that track. They did a cool video for that from Download a few years back. And it was interesting. I don't feel that many people knew that track. Kris explained that, you know, this isn't really an album track unless you've got extended. So maybe this one went over a lot of people's heads. It's a shame because I checked out the set list for the Birmingham show. My parents were at the Birmingham show. They're big Blackstone Cherry fans as well. I wanted to see what they got. And I saw Yeah Man on there and I got excited because we haven't heard that track played live in good few years. Like probably looking back at like 2012 was the last time we heard that. So I was excited. I was looking around when they were playing it. I was a bit disappointed that people seemed a little bit lost on some people, that track, but I guess you're not going to know them all. The highlight for me of the set was a 1-2 kind of in the middle of the set, and that was Soul Creek into Devil's Queen. 2 tracks again which are kind of deeper cuts a little bit on their albums, and again stuff that you don't get to hear all that often. I don't remember the last time I heard those 2 tracks played live. Many years ago, I would guess. For me, Soul Creek was the highlight of the set. I was bouting out those lyrics. Man, I was. And so was everyone around me. You know, that other than the bigger tracks, the sort of, you know, the hits as such, this was a one that I felt people were really singing along loudly to. And it felt such a good feeling to just feel sort of that unity with everyone. We're all on the same page. It didn't matter what had happened in the last 18 months. We were together watching this great band playing for us, playing live music again. And it was like a euphoric feeling. It really was. That was, I know we're talking like halfway through the set, but that was a good feeling all of a sudden. It was like, you know, man, this feels so good. We got the drum solo. We got some introductions in the set earlier of a band, and then we got a later drum solo. We also got Things My Father Said. Now, this wasn't played at the Bristol show, which was the opening show of a tour. This was first dropped into Birmingham. Birmingham seems to be kind of the spiritual home of Black Stone Cherry. They did the DVD show there. They are always talking about Birmingham. I've seen Black Stone Cherry in Birmingham quite a lot, and it always seems to be the highlight of the tour run for the band. As I say, my parents were there, and this was where Kris did solo Things My Father Said for the first time since his dad passed away back in, I think he said June. And I watched the footage and spoke to my dad about it, and he broke down, which is absolutely fine. It was the first time he played that song live since, as I say. He had every right to let those emotions go, and it looked like a struggle for him to get through it, and the crowd really helped. And that was some moment in Birmingham, you know, just to see that emotion shed by him. It was quite a moment. They said that they weren't going to do that song again on the tour, but they have. I think they've done it most nights since, and Kris did it, and it was beautiful. And he did say it was getting a little easier on the emotional side to get through that, but you could still see he was very touched with people singing that back. That song has a whole new meaning for that man right now. It's still very fresh and very raw, I imagine. His dad, I think he said he's 57 or 58. That's no age. No age at all. But it was a very beautiful moment to be a part of, and I'm kind of glad that he did that and to let us in and share all that with him. It was a very cool moment. Rounding off the set, we had the 1, 2, 3 of Blind Man, White Trash Millionaire and Lonely Train, one into each other. You're just firing out the hits. We didn't get Rain Wizard. Kris did say we weren't going to get Rain Wizard tonight for whatever reason, I don't know. But yeah, Blind Man into White Trash Millionaire into Lonely Train. 1, 2, 3. The sing-alongs, the tracks that even if you're a passing fan, you're going to know. We had a very, very short encore break and back on for Pieces Free, which was Ben and Kris playing it just themselves before the other two joined and rounded off that track. I saw that they were ending on Pieces Free, which surprised me when I looked at the set list before, like the Birmingham show. It did surprise me that they were closing out the gig with this. It's an odd choice, you know. It made sense tonight. When you saw it live, it made sense. why they were ending with Pieces Free. And yeah, it did. It made sense. It was a nice way rounding off, especially the first half with just Kris and Ben. Kris didn't have a guitar. He was just going about with his mic. Ben just playing lone guitar. And like I say, the other guys came in and we had that full song. Energy was there from the band, as you would expect. I think they were just so happy to be back playing again. All that energy from Ben, you know, nearly kicking Chris's face off a couple of times. Chris's voice just on point. John Fred, I don't know, he didn't look quite happy throughout. I don't know if he was having sound monitor issues with his in-ears or whatnot. He was fiddling about a lot, but again, that man can drum. My word, that man can really drum. Wow. His drum solo is just not your typical drum solo. Like, he was playing such incredible pieces during that solo. He really was. The new bass player, I don't know his name. I didn't catch his name as he was introduced, so apologies for that. He reminded me of like this kind of Native American kind of Rob Trujillo type with his appearance. This is where we miss John. So John, who departed from the band from bass a few months back now in the summer, early summer. John had a great voice and had the great backing vocals. You know, he, as albums went on, he came more and more on vocally. And I think this is where we missed him. And I miss him. I, you know, love him to still be in the band. I hope he finds his peace and he gets better with his stuff going on and whatnot. But this is definitely, I think, where we missed him. That's not a dig at the new bass player, who does bring a lot of energy as well. But he wasn't really doing masses on the vocals, nothing like John. Ben was doing his vocals, but I don't think they're as strong as John's were. So I think that's the real point, we were missing him. And it was a shame looking up and not seeing one of those original four, because they have been the same lineup throughout up until early summer. So it was a shame, especially after all these times of seeing those four, to have one of those guys missing. But full props to the new bass player. I don't know if he's a permanent member or just filling in for the tour. I'm not sure. But he had some mighty bass work going on. And yeah, just like appearance and whatnot, and his presence was kind of Rob Trujillo-esque, with his long black hair and whatnot. And then they had their percussionist. I think he's a drum tech, but he comes on and does a bit of percussion. Various things, tambourines, bongos, various things like that. He's been on the last couple of tours, so that kind of extra element as well. And we even got a little bit reggae feels. Kris had a Bob Marley shirt on, and we kind of got a bit of reggae feels a couple of times. In My Blood, they ended it, and then they came back in with some reggae passage. It was like a jam session, and then they finished off the end of In My Blood as kind of a reggae jam, which was very interesting with that extra percussion as well. So yeah, a different dimension there. It was kind of cool. I liked it. So where I'm going to have a moan. Not a moan, but something I kind of wish was a little bit better. Come on, Leeds. This is a rock gig. This, for many people like myself, probably was the first gig back since the pandemic. And I did not feel the energy. I really didn't. I like to take in what's going on around me at times during songs, get a feel for the vibe, the energy. And other than the first sort of 3 or 4 rows, I looked behind and I just didn't feel that energy. You know, maybe people are a little bit wary still with COVID. Maybe it's just rust, you know, going back into gigs and getting that feeling. But yeah, I kind of expected the place to be bouncing. Again, I saw the YouTube stuff from the Birmingham show, read a couple of things from the other gigs on this tour so far, and it just felt like the Leeds show was not having the energy that the previous shows have had. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I was just expecting a little bit more bounce, a little bit more vigor from people. For me, I've waited a long time for this, for live music. I hope others around me had done the same. You know, this was a big moment, a big feeling of just relief of seeing that again. But I kind of just wish we'd up the energy a little bit more, especially from a band who produces so much energy. But that's my little niggle, okay? So, first gig back, Blackstone Cherry. I've got some more coming up, which I'm going to report back to you guys about. Did little reviews as such. But thank you for watching. As always, don't forget to subscribe. Go and check the other content. Hit the like button. Smash the bell. Do whatever. My ears are ringing. My voice is going. I smell a beer. I'm sweaty. But my God, it's good to have live music back. I'm going to leave you with a last clip of Blackstone Cherry. I'll catch you guys soon. Take care.